Munchkins and viewers alike, it's me Munchie and welcome back to another rescue intake situation for my foster home here at Munchies Place. So for those of you who do not know, I rescue and foster hamsters as well as I take in surrenders that come to me asking me to please take them in when they have nowhere to go. So I just want to first confirm with you guys that even though I might say as the title of this video, rescued so-and-so hamster, I do want you guys to know it's just a loose term for what people like me are doing, which is rehabilitating, rescuing, taking in surrenders, just like you would for a regular rescue or shelter. And even though these rescues and shelters can intake animals, they just refer to themselves as a rescue or doing rescue work because it is all tied in together. So I hope you guys understand that this type of situation that currently I'm introducing Hershey to you guys today, she is an intake, she is a surrender. So that means the person wanted her to come to me. So I want to introduce to you guys this big Hershey gal. So Hershey here was not the name that was given to her. I believe the person did tell me that they just called them Hammy, and she said I was welcome to change it. So I changed it to Hershey just because I like the sound of that, and she does have this kind of like dark chocolate looking fur to her, and I thought that was adorable, and so I named her Hershey. So the whole situation played out when I noticed on Craigslist, which I normally go on Craigslist to check out my own ads for my available foster hamsters, as well as I want to help out other hamsters in need of a place to go. And so I saw the plea for what was Hershey's ad. Let me share with you guys what it said. It says, I have a 1-year-old female Syrian hamster that I can no longer have in my apartment. She is about 1 year old, born September-October 2017. I'll include a large plastic tub for her habitat, plus other hamster stuff. $15 rehoming fee so she goes to a good home. So when I saw her, the photos frightened me because if you notice in some of these photos, she had an enlarged side to her. Now, for those of you who knew about Zelda and what Zelda went through, Zelda had pyometra, and pyometra is an inflammation of the uterus that, if not fixed, is 100% fatal. And the only way you can fix it is by spaying the hamster. Just the same as you would for a cat or dog, which is more common in cats and dogs, but can be in any type of animal, especially a female, because it's the inflamed uterus, so it's pyometra. And so pyometra in a very bad state usually shows physical symptoms like bulging of the sides. I wanted to double check to make sure she was okay, because even though I was not going to intake another hamster, I wanted to let her know, hey, if your hamster does have this medical need, I can provide medical attention to that animal. So I do have the text up here now. I'll just kind of give you a highlight as to how I contacted her. So basically I introduced myself, I said I was a foster, and that I'm aware of a deadly disease called pyometra. I wanted to make sure that her hamster didn't have it, and if she could give some more photos of her sides, just so I can confirm if she could have a problem or if she's just a chubby little thing. So the owner responded back saying she's definitely not pregnant, but she was very curious to know what pyometra is, and she's like, I usually keep the cage clean, so I don't know how she got it. So I had to explain further about what pyometra was. I did also ask her how much she weighed. She says she doesn't weigh her hamsters, and that she has a DIY wheel, because at first I thought that she might not have had a wheel, but she definitely did have a wheel, but apparently she was not using the wheel. So when I saw the updated photos and noticed that she was just a very big and chunky hamster, I then told her, nah, your hamster looks fine. I was just a little bit worried. I wanted to make sure. I went ahead and let her know that I reposted her ad to my rehoming group in hopes that somebody would come forward and contact her, because I let her know that currently right now I am not intaking any more hamsters in, but I am here to help if she needs me to help her. And then she asked me if I wanted to take her, and that she felt more comfortable if I could take her. She didn't want her going to somebody else. And she also told me a little bit about how her old landlord was okay with having a hamster around, but with her new landlord, she saw the hamster and wanted it gone immediately. So she said to me that she really would prefer if I would take her, because she does not know how long she has until her landlord starts having issues with the hamster, like fines or maybe the possibility of being threatened to be kicked out. And so even though I said to her I was not intaking any hamsters, I said, if nobody contacts you back within this day, I can step forward. So afterwards, she couldn't find anybody and she was so frantic and worried that she says, please take her, I will give you $20 to take her. And at that point I said, oh no, you don't have to give me any money, but she did anyways. So that was a donation towards her care because she cared so deeply about her hamster going to a good home, and I do like that. So I did end up taking in Hershey. So when I first got Hershey, I saw Hershey was in the 27.5 gallon bin cage, and she did have a DIY wheel. Now I do want to discuss the wheel with you guys because it is very crucial that people understand the appropriate wheels and the appropriate size wheels, and this could actually help you understand why or why not your hamster is running on their wheel, especially for Syrians. Since Syrians, they don't really have a lot of products geared towards them, and it's always the dwarf hamsters that have those types of products, and people are just not knowing what to do for them. So the wheels that she gave me, and she did give me a cage as well, and I assumed that that cage was for the baby hamsters that this female Syrian had, because there is some really tiny DIY wheels, and I'm not entirely sure how she made this wheel. I feel like this wheel was from like one of those Japanese style cages that's really small, but as you can see here, this looks like a laundry basket, and it has the same type of material as a laundry basket. The reason why this wheel is pretty bad, and this was not the wheel that she came with, but the reason why this wheel is bad is because it has bars, it has spacings. So picture this, what would happen if you went barefoot outside? Would you want to walk on a rocky path where you're constantly stepping on rocks that are different shapes, or would you rather step on a smooth surface? Unfortunately, if you kept stepping on rocks, your foot's probably gonna get sore, swollen, and inflamed. Same with Syrian hamsters and dwarf hamsters. However, I find it more in Syrians than I do with dwarfs, and it's just the personal preference of wanting to use this because of the way it feels on their feet and just the texture and material. So running in between bars, they get what's known as bumblefoot, and it's an inflammation of the paws. So eventually they're not going to want to use this because it hurts. So that is a bad wheel right there, and I'm only keeping this to show this to you, but it's going to be recycled because it's made out of plastic. But the wheel she came with was actually drilled into her bin cage, and it was this wheel right here. Now, it's really cool that people can DIY some things like this, but as you can see here, it's kind of a similar texture. It's not as bad as the one that I just showed you, but there is kind of like bars, and it's just the way the wheel turns. It might not be appealing, and it puts so much weight because it's bendable plastic. This plastic can move. It's not very sturdy. So that's possibly why she did not want to use it, because it wasn't a really good wheel. However, I do appreciate this lady that had Hershey. She did want to get a big wheel for her, and possibly the reason why is because there's no wheels out there. So if anybody's out there that has a Syrian that needs a bigger wheel, please look online, please do some research. There is communities out there that will point you in the right direction, but usually you can find better wheels on, say, Amazon and or the Carolina Storm wheel on Etsy. Anyways, there was this one, and then there was also this one that she gave me, and a bunch of other stuff that was not quite suitable for hamsters. So I did keep a lot of the little plastic containers because those are really good to use for, say, food bowls or like sand baths, and also there was a few other things like that cage. Anyways, as you can see in the video I took of the items, there was things that were a little bit questionable, especially the food. The food that I was given was in a clear bag, and I just did not know where that food came from, so I did happen to get rid of it. However, I would never want to get rid of free food. If I was handed free food and I knew exactly which bag it came from and what was inside of it, I would use it. And she did tell me she fed her peanuts. So she did give me a bag of peanuts, and they were with their shells. However, when I looked at what the cage had inside in the food bowl, you could see they were unshelled peanuts. So maybe she actually just broke the shell open and gave her peanuts. However, providing them with peanuts as a treat all the time 24/7, they're only going to be having peanuts because it tastes better. It's a good treat. And then salted peanuts, mind you, is okay in moderation. However, there was no moderation here. There was just peanuts, 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 peanuts. It sounds kind of funny when I say that. I should have named her Peanut instead of Hershey, but I like the name Hershey better than Peanut because I know way too many dogs named Peanut. So Peanut didn't really sound like a good name. So I think that was her problem there, because when I got her, she is a thick and chunky gal, and I was so shocked. So as soon as I brought her in, I ended up weighing her, and guess how much she weighs? Hershey weighs 200 and 36 grams. That's the biggest hamster so far to date in Munchies Place that's ever been cared for by me. I was just like, what? So Hershey's previous owner did ask me to give her some updates, so I have been keeping up to date with her. I did find out after receiving Hershey that Hershey did have her babies, and unfortunately she did cull some of them. That means that she was unfortunately stressed during the whole birthing process. And for those of you who do not know about hamster litters, if they are stressed, they will eat their young. Usually this is a beginner hamster mistake and or hamsters that are constantly stressed. So she was probably just in a very stressful situation, but she was a mother and she did have some babies go into adulthood, so that's good to know at least. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed her little presentation about her intake with us. And if you did like the video, hit like to show support. Comment down below with anything you'd like to say today. And if you would like to be a part of the Munchkin family and see updates about our fosters here, please subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video, especially in regards to these guys. So see you next time. Bye-bye.